I know she'll be famous. Ruth, right?
Yes, Ruthie.
All right. So, 6 months seems like
plus.
standard obedience stuff, right?
Yeah,
Like just
the big things are she's a really poor walker.
okay.
Like very hard, easily distracted. Even for a puppy, it's hard to get her to walk.
Sure.
The second big thing is because she was not socialized that much because of quarantine, she's super like barks at everybody in the hall, outside.
In the house?
In the house.
Okay.
We can't have people over or
It's hard. She's gotten to know a couple people. She's lived with my sister and her husband because they've been around more. But yeah, it's kind of a problem.
We would like people to be able to walk up to her in the house.
Yeah, without her
She doesn't
freaking out.
respond aggressively. She kind of leans back like she's been ate and then barks like crazy.
She doesn't. She's not aggressive.
Right. So like when I approach right now, she barked at me.
Yeah. But she's not gonna snarl and try to bite her.
Okay. Anything else?
She eats paper and anything. So we haven't really felt comfortable letting her grow.
Okay.
Non-stop.
She does drop it.
Yeah.
She's completely potty on the left side.
Okay.
Except maybe a little rain. That's not a big deal.
Okay.
And she's real sweet. She's nice.
We'll try it. She might bark.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah. She's very shy. I'm sorry, honey.
She's a shy girl.
That's
Yeah.
very behavior.
Anything else?
What do you think?
No, it's the bark agency. She was more receptive to people. That would make a difference. And then knowing what to drop her.
But you know, she's very I would not.
Sure. Yeah. Recalls. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, come, drop it.
Only when she feels like I personally feel like when I walk, I had a dog for 12 years. When I walk that dog, I walk. This dog walks. I'm not.
Sure.
So
Okay.
that's basically it.
Yeah. It sounds like it's a pretty standard case. Nothing out of the ordinary here. You do have a little bit of a nervous dog. All that barking behavior. So like right when that little girl came up, her tail went up, she jumped back, kind of like that was like I'm unsure about you. It's all nervousness. Okay. So I'm not worried about that. That may actually resolve itself with discipline. If not, I do have exercises for stuff like that. This is really minor. And she's still young. She's only about 6 months, right?
That's a relief because I was really convinced that like it's when we're at our lake house and she's on someone is like moving around on their property, like
Yeah.
taking over, she just goes.
Yeah, and that's normal. Now you can address it, but for a dog, that's normal because she's just being territorial, right?
She's a good watchdog. She's got a deep bark and she alerts.
Sure.
Definitely.
So when it comes to the barking stuff, like the in the house stuff, it might if it seems more, I would say, frequent than maybe your previous dog, it's because it's the nervousness. That's what's triggering her barks more. That can be corrected. You can minimize as much as you want. You can eliminate it if you want. Most people don't want to because they want the security of my dog barks. Lets me know there's.
I would like our previous dog. She would bark, like let's say her parent came in, and as long as we like connected, she could connect the dots.
Yeah, we would just go up and
She would stop.
Sure.
he just needed us to affirm the relationship.
Ruthie
Not that
introduced
dog.
her to family members. Like we had a new family member up at the lake. She would like quiet down and then be with her, but then
Sure. So that's nervous. Yeah. So when someone comes in and the dog settles, and then the person gets up or something changes and they bark, that's nervousness. Okay. So that's all real typical stuff. it can be addressed. Now, getting it this young, but I just want you to think in the sense that we can't make her unnervous, okay? But we can help her handle that nervousness better. In some cases, to the degree where it seems like she's not nervous, but really she is. She just knows how to handle it, okay? Before reaching out, you can show your research on me?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
You were recommended by the chief people in the behavior that like
Sure.
the dog owners recommended. I'm trying to remember, was it Dozy?
It's a Nash.
Oh, Nash, yeah. Oh, sure. I think Melissa told me about you guys. Yeah. Nash has come a long way.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah.
So the another guy that played like
Sure, yeah. No, Nash, man, he broke his owner's shoulder twice, and it sent him to the ER like 3 times in 2 years.
So like big behavior.
Yeah, and it was really just
weird.
yeah, no, it was more so just because he's so big and powerful, he just pulled him down. But that's like, you know, when people see a friendly dog, they think, oh, they don't need obedience, they're friendly. But if you got a big dog, they can pull you down just like any other dog.
Even our sweet dogs.
Sure. Yep. So, I specialize in remote work or e-collar, which is what Nash is trained on. I know with puppies, people think like, oh, you can't do that to a puppy. You absolutely can. And I'll explain all that stuff. The reason why I just jumped to e-collar, because other trainers will tell you food, then prong, and then e-collar if they do that approach. It's because it's more money, right? And I get it from a business perspective, but then a lot of owners lose interest or they stop because it's not effective. So I go, why not just jump to the best result, the best tool, get the results, and the owners will be motivated and working, right? So I just did a client earlier. Her puppy is 6 months, and he actually did daycare at our facility, and we did a little bit of like real basic stuff. She was a pup, and then she's like, when can I graduate him to like big boy training? I'm like, when he's 6 months, so he just started literally today. And then I have a mini Bernedoodle for 6 months, started on e-collar as well. So yeah, this is the perfect age. So you can actually do it as young as 2 months, but the problem is people, because the puppy's 2 months, psychologically have a hard time being able to do that, but then you actually can train that young, okay? So what I like about it is when you get your off-leash obedience, so the recall stuff, right? When it comes to the nervousness, and correcting the nervousness is non-confrontational, right? So like, let's say, so, and not that confrontation is bad, it's healthy, because it teaches the dog who's boss, right? But when you have a nervous dog, if you don't know how to confront correctly, you create more nervousness, okay? With e-collar, we remove that confrontation, and I'm able to discipline her without confrontation, right? So it allows her to resolve that issue without making her more kind of... have you ever been to a chiropractor or a physical therapist? Have you ever had that machine that twitches the muscles? That's an e-collar. Yeah. So what it is, it's a muscle twitch. So if you go to Walgreens, you go in the back section where they have like the icy hot and stuff, you'll see what looks like a little bone, and it's called a TENS unit. So that's what they used on you. You can buy these at Walgreens now. You put on your back, it moves your back muscles to help ease pain or tension. It's the exact same technology. In my book, it's more refined. So with the actual TENS unit, there's still risk of electrocution, like water and stuff. You have to be careful if you have a pacemaker, and they can actually burn the human if they're not careful. We don't get that with the dog version. Okay, it's fully waterproof. It's not going to burn the dog. What can happen is pressure sores, but it's from 2 things on the neck for a very long time. But in most cases, as long as you're rotating it, you're fine, or because the dog really only needs it at certain times. Exactly, like you wouldn't need it all day. So that shouldn't be an issue. I've been using it for 8 to 10 years. I've built my career. Every review you read on me, except for like maybe 3 are e-collar dogs. You know? So, and there, so another reason why I always do e-collar is I don't have, everybody's got a break point. So let's say I got a really stubborn dog. My collar goes 0 to 127. So imagine like the human version goes to like 20, and mine goes 127. 20 and 127 are the same, but I have 100 steps in it. It's more fine-tuned, okay? So, let's say, it doesn't matter that she's nervous, because people would think, like, if I have a nervous dog, they would be much lower on the number. That's not true. Because they're physical animals. They're meant to bite each other, right? So their tolerance for discomfort is much higher than that of a human. Is that she could be 70 out of 127, but she's not yuppie. But that's her number, right? Or it could be 8. I have no idea. She knows. And that's what we find. And when we do the training, the first class is, what's Ruthie's number? We find it. Exactly. And there's different types. There's her connection number, which means you have connection. But then there's her working number, which means what she listens to in that particular context. So if you see the muscle twitching at 10, people think like, oh, that's it. And I'm like, no, because the dog's like staring, and it's just happening, right, because they're too far gone. So now you have to raise that number until you find a level that she's like, what's going on? Correct.
Does she, it's obvious how
Yes and no. A drawback to the e-collar is connection. We should be fine here, but like if I get a really thick-coated dog, it's difficult, right? But once you get used to just establishing the connection for practice, it's not really a big deal. So like, or puppies, because they have loose skin, sometimes the skin kind of gets caught, but eventually you get to a point where you're just so used to establishing connection and stuff that it's not even that difficult. It's like, okay, here we go. There's, in my opinion, very few drawbacks to the e-collar. That's one of them. It's just connection for. Another one could be dogs becoming collar smart, right? But there's a whole thing behind it. So like, if you do positive only training with treats, prong, gentle leader, or e-collar, regardless of the tool that you use, when you remove the tool or the training method, performance always dips. It's just the way of life. So if you're using treats, if you don't have treats, the dog's not going to sit. Yes, right? Now with e-collar, if you don't have the collar, the dog's going to be much more responsive because the training is much better. However, in a context like this, I tell people your dog will still have the collar. The most common question I get is, when does it go away? Right? Yes. And I tell people when you need it, it doesn't. So it doesn't mean she's wearing it every day, all day for the rest of her life. It means if she's great in the house, you don't need it. But if you're going to go for a walk and you're like, we're going to let her off-leash and stuff, then you need it, right? Yeah. Because you can't account for life, right? Like people just bringing their dogs up, right? And people think, well, shouldn't the dog should learn to be a good dog? And I was like, it doesn't work that way. I'm like, even humans, it's opportunistic behavior. So you guys driving the expressway, you go speed limit. You do, okay, so you're a real follower there. But you know I'm getting at, right? A lot of people don't. I don't, right? And it's funny when I ask people that because they get really sheepish. They're like, right?
They definitely do not.
So the reason you do that is because you know you can get away with it. But if you see a squad car, what do you do? Exactly, right? So I tell everybody, look at that. E-collar's a cop on a collar. When she's got it on, she's going to behave herself. Every now and then, maybe you need to use it, right? But the point is, the training is done. You've practiced, you've done it. That it's not constant, right? Constantly having to use it. It's just present in case life happens. Exactly.
Like if you bring her to a place.
For example, yeah, exactly. If you're going to a friend's house, if guests are coming over, right? So there's a specific exercise that I have for guests that come over. So I'll calm the dog down. And in some cases, like let's say you're gonna have a bunch of people come over. After the last person comes, like you remove it, she's totally fine because there's no more triggers. Or in some cases, after the third person, the dog just kind of goes into a mode of like, oh, there's a lot of people coming over today. They stop barking. They go into more of a social state. In my more severe cases, because I'm known for working with dogs on human aggression and stuff, I'll tell them like, you keep the collar on the dog the entire time, but it's a liability if you remove it, but the dog's totally fine with the collar on. So it's real simple to use. We have changed the way we operate due to COVID. That's why we have a camera now. Is everything's verbal instruction. So I don't even touch the dog. Okay, it's all at the owners do that, and it's been working very well. Okay, because we're getting reliable obedience, very effective, it's super simple, and it's within the first class of getting everything, right? So like for instance, the first thing we do is always instruction. Okay. That's the foundation for everything. That's actually also the foundation for her nervousness. Okay. And so when we put her under pressure or stress, we call it a stressor, do not be alarmed if you see more nervousness. Okay. She's already a nervous dog, so when she goes under stress, she becomes nervous. You call her a stressor. So if you're applying a stressor, it makes more sense that the dog would seem nervous, right? But what ends up happening is because there's a solution to the stressor and it goes away, it builds her confidence. Does that make sense? So she starts to become nervous, she figures it out, everything stops, and she goes, oh, I figured it out, right? And the more you expose her, the more you toughen her up. So when we get nervous, anxious, or insecure dogs, people tend to lay off discipline because they don't want to make it worse. Now, if you do it incorrectly, you can, right? But dogs bite each other. They're very physical animals. If you go online on YouTube, like I made a playlist, but there's like I have a playlist of mothers with puppies, and they're like biting the puppies and like harassing them. Yeah. So it's like she's using physicality to settle her down. It's cool, but at the same time it's toughening her up. It's giving her free language. And that's why dogs like this don't get better, because humans think we don't do that stuff. Right? So like the way I and from personal experience, like I was spanked growing up, and I feel like that toughened me up for life. Really? For me,
I spanked you once your whole life. You're 21, so lay off. One time, once.
I had an ex-girlfriend many years ago, and we had a little argument, which wasn't even an argument, and I just like firmed my voice, right? And she like broke, and I felt really bad. I'm sorry, I didn't yell, just like was firm. And I was just like, were you ever spanked growing up or anything? She's like, no. She's like, all my parents have to do is school me. Right? But that's how sensitive she was. You know? Yeah, like, right. So for me, I feel like, and when I've talked to other people and how they were raised, and just like personality traits and stuff, I've noticed that, right? The physicality just kind of toughens them up when done correctly. Dogs is the same way. Okay, now if someone with multiple people, they discipline their dogs, they yell. Shut up! No! Right? The yelling is actually causes more issues, not the physicality. Yes. Okay. Another dog will just come in, boom. There's no big energy around it. So e-collar removes a lot of that frustration. It's very simple, so you don't even get frustration, right? And it's easier on her. Okay. And everything's at the press of a button, which nowadays is kind of people's because phones and all that stuff are very button oriented. So it makes more sense for people to do something like that. I'm not opposed to prong or treats, but at this
like a cotton on my head.
correct. That everybody can do. So like I have a couple that I'm working with. I trained their sons 2 dogs, and then they got a puppy, it's a 6-month-old golden doodle, and they only did prong. And I was like, because they didn't want to do e-collar. And I was like, all right, they're like 67 years old. Okay. So they did 3 classes with a prong collar, and they're yanking this dog all over the place, right? It's very physical, and the dog's not big. Like they would correct them, and she's like, whatever, right? So I told him, I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. It's right. I was like, do e-collar, and literally did 1 class of e-collar, complete 180. Super simple. So
I buy it.
yeah. And that's why we record stuff too. So since it is a lot of verbal instruction, you're gonna forget stuff. You can always refer to your own video. Okay. And also, if you're struggling with something, I can send you a video and say like, hey, I have a client, same problem. Here, watch 20 minutes in. There you go. Here's an example, right? And it also shows people like, oh, like Jesse gets effective results, right? Because they're completely uncut. It's just, here it is, it's very transparent, it's very raw, there's mistakes, we get a yip every now and then if you're learning stuff, it's part of the process, but at the end of the class you always see the dog having learned the exercise, and this isn't even, have you been here before?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how busy this gets.
Yeah, it's a very good.
Right? Is it? Oh wow.
Did not know.
But I use this place because it is so busy, so and
Yeah, she doesn't.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not part of this consultation. And bikes, strollers, dogs, people, runners. The nervousness. And we're getting the obedience right there. We're not in a closed off room where it's quiet.
Right.
We're not isolated. Yes. So then people are like, holy crap, like, not only are you training the dog and it's easy, but it's effective in real life.
Right.
So I'm like, if you can do it here, do it anywhere else. Okay?
That's a good point.
Questions so far?
No.
I've been doing this for a long time. I've learned 10 years. Yeah. Let me think here. How much control are you looking for over Ruthie? Because that's what
Yeah,
determines
I
like
mean,
your head.
I would like her when we walk and I say, I would like her to come with these drop things. When she needs to drop things.
Oh, sure. For sure.
Gaslighting around is like nuts. And really, without like having to treat her right there,
And even sometimes with the tree.
she won't run. I haven't had to go in her mouth.
Right now.
And you look at some of her dad got her.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So there's that. I mean, I think she's real. She loves it. I don't want to change her personality. I just
No.
want her to. I want her to know that we're foster one, and
And at home, that when she's right now, what she's been doing, which I hate, is when she's bored, she gets up and falls and like,
Sure.
she goes from that ponytail. But it hurts when she's like biting your hair and trying to get. I mean, if you then stand up and start playing with her, she stops. But I'd like to be able to like sit on the couch and work, and if she's bored, she can do her own.
we're giving her. We know she's a lot of kind of new dog. She's doing a lot of good. It's like some dog out there.
Sure.
I know. We're taking the dog park. Wait, she needs to get tired.
So that's not true. So and the other thing is, and I'll explain that. And for like the play stuff, I just make her hair.
Just shave it off. Honestly, I've thought about it.
But yeah, so she's just trying to play. We can correct that. That's not a problem. So it's a very common misconception of puppies need to be puppies. Yes and no, right? Again, there's a video on the internet which I love, and there's like 10 puppies. They're Labrador puppies, and they're yipping and yapping, right? And the mother comes in and just growls and bites them and just shuts everybody up, right? When I have puppies, it's quiet. They play when I allow them to play. So like for me growing up, it was in the home, you can play to a degree, but if it got too loud, take it outside, right? So I'm not against taking your dog to the dog park, I'm not against exercising your dog. It's really about discipline, right? Don't zoom around the house, don't bark at me
I
to
don't want
play.
her zooming around the house when she goes.
Right.
Especially sometimes when we bring her in from a walk or like play and go to walk, she'll come in and she'll be that zoom. She gets to sit here sometimes, and then she'll just clap.
Sure.
I'm done.
Yes, so that you would actually correct, right? So the difference between obedience and behavior is stuff, think of it as education and morality.
Yeah.
Since they come, math into science, don't jump the mark and bite, don't let us to the sheep, okay? So a very smart person doesn't make for a very good person, always, right? And a very good person may not be a smart person. Same thing with dogs, right? So if I don't want her to zoom, it's really just correcting her, or like spank, quote unquote, her to not zoom. Does that make sense? If you're at the dog park, zoom all you want. But in the home, not having it. Yes. And we cover both those things, okay? Because people tend to think it's like tell the dog to sit. I'm like, sit has nothing to do with zoom. As soon as she's done with the sit, yeah, they don't overlap, okay? So, in terms of like length of time and stuff, if all you're wanting is walking on the leash, come when I call you, and you minor behavior issues, Yeah. I would say you're probably just at I have a 6-week program. It's 6 classes, 1 day a week. But it comes with 2 Zoom sessions. So it's technically 8, right? But 2 are over the Zoom.
Right.
The Zoom stuff we use for like any questions or stuff in the house, correcting behaviors, just FYI stuff. And all the stuff that we do here is the stuff that I can show you, right? Which would be like the obedience stuff, the leash walking, the recall. Once we get that down, we see where she's at, and I go, okay, cool, we got everything covered. We have a couple classes left over. It's the job, or the plan, and then it's the next thing. Okay. So like if you want, in terms of control, if it's I walk my dog to the dog park, she's off to the dog park, and we walk back home. That's pretty much it. If you're like we go camping, we go hiking, we go to a lake, and all that stuff.
We do go to lake, yeah.
That only requires really a good
Recall.
She parks and run around, that kind of thing. When other dogs are around, she loves other dogs, but if she's like going after someone, I have to chase her, but I can't get her.
Sure.
And she's allowed to around there. It's a pretty safe area.
Yeah, there's no problem with that.
I think it's all
Sure.
Oh, that's another thing she told me is we're really worried about the separation anxiety.
Oh, okay.
Because she's really we've done our best to get her quiet, run away, let her go places, but we're downstairs.
Is she in the crate at all?
Has no trouble going.
Because everything's home. But it's with her. Sure.
She'll go in there during the day, fall asleep.
I saw it. System.
Or it would be better with my other dog. This dog, I don't know what to do. I mean, we haven't really had very many chances to test him out.
Yeah. So what I've been telling everybody now that we got something during quarantine is, let's say they're working from home. I was like, if you can work a 9 to 5, I create the dog 9 to 5 despite the fact that because you're trying to create the structure of really great, right? So that you know when life goes back to normal, the only difference is now you're not there. But the crate and that there's that familiarity of routine. Plus, if there is any issues, it can be addressed while you're home, right? Now, if she only has issues when you crate her and leave, then with the discipline from the e-collar, possible that it goes down a bit. Otherwise, if her problem is barking and stuff, it will just get more active. And that'll keep her quiet. And then over time, those two things together should settle her down.
She would probably have the first one.
Yeah, we can give her the first one.
And I also think about the age of the dog. So like for puppies, for me, whether you get a dog or a puppy, I always treat dogs the first year. So with puppies, we get a lot of dogs. They're like cheap stuff, toy stuff, and they're gone. With older dogs, they tend to, since it's like I went from one environment to another environment to another environment, they tend to be destructive because they're stressed out. So then a year gives them time to kind of settle into it. I don't have a problem with her like being into this stuff, as long as it's body trained, that doesn't matter. So there's a lot of ways to work around it. But then, like let's say you have to leave with a friend or something, and she's not being crate trained, there, things like that. So it can go a number of ways.
I mean, she does like to crate anyway. I'm not sure we can get her back in the crate.
I thought we had decided it's like a small space with very
normal. You gotta
Once we figure out better, this is why I'm not as concerned about the house. Stuff like, this is the stuff that we notice. Stuff like baths, size,
even though we're pretty tight people.
I'm not sure if you have like a nail. I
Well, we
worry
know
constantly.
that.
I worry constantly.
Yeah.
Why would you?
And all this stuff can be corrected by. Okay, it's very simple. It's just donate credit. Okay, but then you'd have to you want to release in case she does get something.
Right.
But a lot of this grabbing stuff, like this is her unable to turn off. Her brain is just constantly going. And settle. Did you call it?
Settling.
Yes.
They're on full like this.
Yes.
You want the middle.
Yeah. This is real common stuff. I know it for people who are not used to it, it seems like holy crap, it's a lot. But this is actually okay. Oh, sure. A lot of people. Yeah. 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 Yeah, no, you don't have a bad dog. You have a puppy. Pretty standard stuff. She's got some nervous issues. But it's nothing I haven't dealt with before. It's discipline. It's going to change things. You get them on Amazon. So the ones you need, how many are you going to get? Okay. Sorry about it. The dog should see. It runs about 237 attacks, fully waterproof. DOGTRA, dog truck, 280C. They run about 237 attacks, half-mile range, fully waterproof, good for 25-pound dogs and under. They last for years. I've had mine 8 years, no issues. The most common thing is rechargeable with the battery. The battery does wear out. A couple of years, leave it or whatever, you go online, $20 to replace it. Otherwise, it does come with warranty. Best brand, I've been using it for a long, long time. You'll find stuff that's cheaper, like $30, $40, whatever. It's garbage.
Maybe we found that we just need
So right now, I'm doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then once, I think Sundays, I think Saturday's filling up, and I think Friday's about to. But then once that happens, we're going to open up another day. So, because I have my facility in Logan Square, so COVID has to come back on staff and everything, so I'm free work essentially. So then I do transportation, I do daycare, and I have my clients as well that we're trying to rebuild. So by keeping my schedule with this tighter, I make the best use of my space, yeah. So, but we're be able to better inform you of that. I'm pretty sure, and it's first come, first serve, right? So we turn around like, hey, we're ready Friday. And she's going to start working on that. Sure. The cost for the 6-week program plus is $825. Part of your fee from today will get credited towards that. Yeah. And then it's really cheap. She said you get the forms, sign them as soon as you're all set. It's going to use your time. It's once a week for about an hour. And then the Zoom sessions, you can schedule after the second one at any point. You don't have to wait a week to schedule the Zoom because it's more so added info. You know what I mean? So once you understand the e-collar, and then it's like, hey Jesse, I want to address things in the home, you can schedule that between classes. That's not a problem. You can, if you want to put it out and have it wear it, it's fine. I just don't use it. And I'm going to send you an email with videos for you to watch, so that when you come to the class, you're ready to go. And I'm also going to send you other videos for you training a few of them. That's kind of supplemental. So that this way when you come here, you've already got a baseline that you're get more out of the class. Okay? Anything else? Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, and we're not going to make him a robot, by the way. Yeah, I know a lot of people were concerned about that. Like, oh, like his personality stays the same, right? Oh yeah, I mean, gotcha. That's good to know. What I would start doing is when you get the collar, start eating collar and use high value stuff. I use like turkey, chicken, sausage, cheese. Because once you start the aversive or the application of it, maybe you get that behavior. If that happens, you let me know, because Nash did the same thing with the stuff. And then we had to correct it and finally stop running away. And then the collar open. Want to learn more, just go to my YouTube channel, which you can get access to my website, and you'll see tons of videos of me here. This is our spot of us training, if you want to get an idea of how effective it is. Okay? Awesome. Thank you guys. Take care.